Hi folks, it's a nice sunny day out today, a little chilly but sunny, and I'm still working out here trying to get the fallowing finished up from the summer gardens, getting them cleaned up. Come all the way down here to the backyard so far. We've done well, and still got a little bit further to go, but this weekend's supposed to be really nice, so maybe I'll get out here and get the rest of it done once and for all. I'll get all this stuff taken down, cleaned up. The patio, I've started getting it cleaned up, but I'll finish the rest over there. Get that taken down, put these pots all away. All those pots down there in bags I'll put in the winter garden. Shelves in there for now. Let me show you what I did in there. Then I'll put all this garden equipment in here as well. But in here I put the shelves so I can store all those pots on these shelves. And then these are the plants that need to be wintered. Oh, that's all my seeds. I've got to process them all, and I'm putting them in pill bottles there, used pill bottles. This one here is French marigold mix. And so those are my seeds for next year's summer garden. This one looks like it turned over. That should be easy to fix because it's these big marigold seeds. I don't know how that would do because there's no wind in here. So my thought is we have a cat that likes to frequent the yard, and I'm thinking maybe the cat takes some refuge in here now and then and gets up here and walks over this stuff and knocks it over. Okay, just get like that. So put that in there. Get that all straightened up. Okay. Anyway, so those are all my seeds, and then all these pots are plants that have to stay out here and winter over. They need the cold air to regenerate themselves. The little chrysanthemum still blooming, even through the cold nights we've had lately. So they'll stay here until spring, but I'll put all the pots on these shelves. And then in here, we'll put the lawn equipment, the lawnmower and wheelbarrow and the wagon. And so they'll be kept out of the weather for most of the winter. But I wanted to really show you now. The good news is this. I mean, we've got some good weather coming on the weekend. It's going to be up near 60 on Saturday and Sunday both. So I'll have a good opportunity to get out here and finish the work out here. Get the rest of this cleaned up, and then I'll show you how it looks afterwards. But I wanted to show you the winter gardens, especially now, because the good news is that we are, look at that. There is sedum. That should probably go into the winter garden. I might take that into the winter garden. Anyway, we are officially a quarter of the way already. 1/4 of the way through winter already. That's the good news. A quarter of the way. And after Christmas, a couple weeks after Christmas, we'll be halfway through winter already. So that's how you have to look at it. You have to keep optimism alive. Look at that. That's my beautiful cranberry, European cranberry right there. Still, it's got the cranberries, and birds eat these. They're actually edible for humans as well. I don't eat them, but anyway, I'll leave them out here for the birds and squirrels to eat. They need something to eat during the winter. So let's go look at the winter gardens as we are a quarter of the way through winter. It's quite different looking in here. Okay, so here we go. This is the part that I haven't processed yet. So I go through and process so many pots beginning of November. I go through and start processing pots, which needs to be done because you see all those dead leaves. Those need to be picked off of plants and picked up off the floor so they don't create bacterial situations, infections, opportunities for infection in the plants. So I go through and do, and this is the wild, unprocessed part so far, because I only began it a few weeks ago. It takes some time. But you can see how uncivilized this looks. The pool needs cleaned out, pond needs cleaned out there. It's got suds in it because I use Dawn dish detergent to ward off pests, bugs, and stuff. And fortunately, knock on wood, this year I haven't had any of those issues. I changed things up a little bit. Last year it was a war from the beginning to the end of the season with aphids and with white flies especially. And I think that might be getting a little too much water there. Those are succulents. They don't need a lot of water. I might have to cut back on the watering. And that's a beautiful coleus. They get very big. And you see the mandevilla vine is growing like crazy. You see all these little vines coming off of this little. I have to be careful of those because those will get up in the lights and they will attach. They'll cross. By the end of the season, they'll be all the way across the ceiling, and it'll be impossible, or very near impossible, to get that out the door sometime spring to trim it up. And so I have to be very careful where these vines connect to, where they go to. This one's trying to get over here to this table. And this is doing very well. These are doing very well in the garden this year. Papyrus from Egypt. This is a particular cultivar is called Prince Tut. It's a smaller variety. Then you have a very tall, huge variety called King Tut. This is Chinese evergreen. I don't think it's doing as well as it could do in this area right now. So that'll probably get moved. As I process these pots, I move them as well. So the garden's always changing the way it looks. Now this is an interesting thing. This I got from my sister-in-law Linda, and it's a beautiful red geranium. It was just gorgeous over the summer, and I couldn't allow her to let it die, so she said I could bring it down here to my winter garden and give it a home. And it was looking very poor. Oh look, it's starting to bloom now. It was looking very poorly just a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you what, don't let geraniums fool you. They're great for bringing indoors in the winter, but what happens is they're very sensitive to the light change, so all of their leaves will die off and it will look like the plant itself is dying, but it's not. They lose all their leaves, but then they get them all back, and this one is growing like now voraciously, unbelievably, to a point where it's hard to believe that it's that lush now after seeing it a few weeks ago. Same thing will go with this olive tree. It lost, see, you can see where it lost all those leaves when I first brought it in, but it will get new leaves. Probably not till I put it outdoors next summer, but it will. There's the stately Norfolk Island pine. So it's really crazy back here. I'll have to pull out each of these plants and process them and maybe move them around a little bit. The avocado was doing very poorly. It doesn't like being outside. It actually prefers inside. So now it's got all those new leaves on it. The calamundan, the lemon tree, the fiddle-leaf fig back there. Oh, here's the yucca plant, Mexican yucca, looking great. This coffee tree is starting to look better. It was really in poor condition, but as you can see, it was got coffee beans on it, a lot of coffee beans, and I planted one of those and it actually grew. These are easy to grow, but you can see it's got the dead leaves on it that need pulled off. There's the Acuba, or gold dust plant, and that's doing really well in the place where it's at. Unfortunately, there's a mandevilla vine under there that isn't doing so well. That's the Hawaiian Schlafera, which always does well. It doesn't complain much. It just does its thing. I was a little bit worried about the smoke tree back here, but it's getting all new leaves, as well as the myrtle. But you see, those on the myrtle tree, you see that? Those are, no, they're not flying yet, because if I shook this, they would fly up in a cloud of dust. But those are nymphs of the whitefly, and I have been careful to be cautious to watch these things and to spray. So I'll be spraying it as soon as I'm done videotaping here to get rid of them. And I use just a little bit of Dawn detergent, just a tad, half a teaspoon, in a quart of water with about a squirt of baby oil. The baby oil makes the detergent stick to the leaves and keeps it immune from a reinfestation. But you can see how bad that would be if I let those things go to the point where they were flying around and could actually start laying eggs. I won't, I assure you, because I fought that war already and I didn't like it. Don't want to be there again. Look how healthy this Arabica Cafe, this is another coffee tree, looks there. And that is a Monstera. All that fluffy stuff in between. This stuff here is called a asparagus fern. And that can get all caught. You can see it's getting all caught up in the lights already. This is Confederate jasmine, and there's my papaya tree. Papaya tree is really beautiful. I love the trunk. See how the trunk looks? This looks so tropical. And papayas are just wonderful indoor plants. Easy to grow from a seed. Just go buy a papaya at a grocery store and plant the seed, and you'll have a beautiful tree just like this in no time at all. And a 5-gallon bucket is enough for them. That's an African wisteria tree. It's come back as well, very well. And I have a lot of those dragon wing begonias, the pink flowers growing back in there. This table is a mess. This is the next one to be processed, actually. And so, what the heck? Went off. Wait, no, it didn't. Okay. So, things happen in a winter garden that you don't expect. I mean, that's what gardening is about. It's supposed to be unexpected. It's not supposed to be all planned out. These just a week ago, these rose bushes were very, very lush. I've been having some trouble with the white flies getting on them, the larvae, and having to spray them. And I think they might be a little bit sensitive to the dishwater detergent, so or the detergent that I use. So I might have to find another way, because now they're dying back a lot. They were beautiful just a week ago. As this impatient as well. This is Chinese spurge. Got a lot of the petunia has come back from nearly being dead, and look at it now, just going crazy in there. And among all that, you have lilac has come to life there. That's Cleome coming up, actually. This is moonflower, and it is, you can see it's getting ready to bloom. It's got the flower buds on it, and it's ready to bloom out. It's got a lot of flower buds on it. So that'll be a first that I successfully grew a moonflower indoors. And the one beside it is called Painted Lady Runner Bean. You can see the flowers from that one are orange and white. And that's got quite a bit of flowers on it. And then it grows beans. It gets seeds. So coming around here, we've got some, this should bloom by the end of the winter. This is pink primrose. This has bloomed, it blooms on and off. It's already bloomed this year, but it has an incredible smell. It's lantana vine. The vinca is in full bloom right now. And usually I have a lot of trouble with vincas, with the whiteflies and the gnats and everything else. This year it's doing pretty good so far. That right there is a Tithonia, or a Mexican sunflower, which is planted in a little pot, and it's just, I hope it makes it to the end of the winter, because I'd like to plant that outdoors. It's a wonderful orange flowers all over it. And that's chrysanthemum, variety chrysanthemum. You have some fancy cosmos in bloom over there. But the table is a mess right now. Doesn't look good because it's a mess. I haven't processed it yet. These are my aloe plants down here. This one I like a lot because it looks like some kind of nautical creature. It looks like a squid or something, the way it's grown sideways. And then there's the Song of India Dracaena. I have another one over here. Rabbitfoot fern. And a beautiful plumbago that right now is in bloom with these beautiful sky blue flowers. That one's, it's got a bunch of buds on it. It's going to bloom again here shortly. But I just processed this, so back in here is there's a Sansevieria, some Gerbera daisies. Here's a cat palm. Cat palms actually belong to the church, but I take care of them during the winter, give them a home. Well, anytime they're not using them, I take care of them. Look at this Christmas cactus in full bloom, folks. Just about the right time. A little early, but just about the right time. I love Christmas cactuses. There's a bunch of geraniums down here that I just moved here because they were doing poorly where they were. Didn't get enough light, and now you can see they're starting to bloom. Just starting to bloom there. A lot of them, and there's some Ganzania in there as well. Here's this little flower is a form of vinca, but it's a small leafed vinca, and it's pretty hardy. This is like its second year living in there up on the shelf. I got a begonia that's not doing so well. Some wandering Jew, and over here on the other side of the pond, we got some. I got this Boston fern up there. Boy, that needs processed. But I got this beautiful and that's a heliconia. I don't know if you can see the orange flowers. They're just about done now. They get bright orange flowers like that. It's quite beautiful. It's a cousin, actually, of the bird of paradise. It's tropical. I'm waiting for some lily of the valley to come up there. And of course there we got some Confederate jasmine with wandering Jew and bugleweed or ajuga. Chocolate ajuga actually going on in there. Here's this is a false Aralia tree. Actually quite a prize in the plant world. Very popular in office buildings, and this particular, I bought it at Home Depot for $2 when it was just a baby, a seedling, and at this point it would probably be worth upwards of $80 in its position, in its condition and everything. I'm not looking to sell it or anything, but I'm just saying it's a valuable plant. The plants do have value, you know. And I've got a lot of cannas in the winter garden this year. A lot of cannas, and they will bloom before the end of the season. I'm positive of it this year, because look how well they're doing already. But I have cannas because they're Kathy's favorite flower. They happen to be Kathy's favorite flower, and so I've got a lot of them growing in here. So a spider plant that's just going crazy with getting its spiders on it and everything. Learned a lesson about that little plant back there. That's a ornamental pepper. Didn't realize it was a hot pepper, and I was pulling all the peppers off to save the seeds so I can plant more of them because they're beautiful. And then I rubbed my face, and that's a new experience in pain. You don't want to rub your face after taking apart these peppers. I had to go up in the shower and stand in the shower for about 15 minutes before that burning stopped. I felt like I was on fire, and I had rubbed my eyes, so it was in my eyes and everything. It was terrible, just awful. Here's some little seedlings that I just rescued at the end of the summer, and we'll see how they do. This is calendula, some hollyhock. There's sage, and there's some back in here. Here's red Reuben basil. Here's the sweet potato vine, dragonwing begonia. There is Alternanthera, also called Joseph's Coat. And it comes in different colors. This one's the bronze and green one. I think it's called Black Knight. But it's just a beautiful plant with beautiful form. It's a perennial, but I take it in the winter anyway. Right beside it is a baby rubber tree, a very popular house plant. There's another one. It's not actually a rubber tree. It's a peperomia, but it's called, that's its variety, baby rubber tree peperomia. And there's I've had this geranium for over 15 years now, and it's still going strong. So let's go back here. This is the famous Artemisia that smells like Coca-Cola. When you touch it, it smells just like Coca-Cola, and I mean exactly. This is the last of my mango tree. I'm hoping that it just, because of the light difference, the leaves all died off and fell off. But I'm hoping it's a deciduous tree, and so I'm hoping that it's not dying, that it's actually going to come back and get new growth of new leaves like my African wisteria did. There's anthurium. Look at these beautiful dusty millers. Beautiful, very festive, holiday looking. The orchids are blooming again. Those flowers just opened on the orchids, and they've got a lot more buds there. And here's the white ones down here in bloom. This one's been blooming for months, this one. But that's the orchids all in there. And you can see on over that is the lambs there, one of my favorite. Although it didn't do well over the summer, it's very sensitive to light change. So I might keep it in the shade when I move it out next summer. Yes, we're talking about next summer already. We keep things optimistic here. And then over on here, this table, we have coleus and geranium with Yanzania in it. We've got, this just finished blooming. This is Arabian jasmine, and it has that incredible, intoxicating, the flowers, which are white. Let me show you, I got you one that just fell off the vine. So there it is. And they just have an incredible, for such a small flower, you could smell these throughout the room when they're blooming. And it's just, I can't even describe the smell. It's sort of like a mixture between a woman's perfume and orange blossom. But it's an incredible sweet smell. The African violets didn't do well over the summer, and now they're struggling to make a comeback there. Not doing too bad. Back in there we have a money plant at the very back. Look at the that dark pink. That is a Diplodamia. It's a relative of the Mandevilla vine, but it stays in a bush form. It doesn't line out like a Mandevilla, go everywhere. And look at those beautiful hydrangea. That's full bloom hydrangea in full bloom. It's just gorgeous. That's Purple Heart right there in the front. In between you have some apple mint, some lemon balm, calancho, and there's another spider plant. More cannas up front here, which will bloom eventually. Back there that's called Eastern Indian jasmine. Coffee vine. Doesn't grow coffee beans like the coffee tree over on the other side of the room, but they call it the coffee vine for some reason. And I got a lot of these cat palms growing up. This is a Ratamachera or China doll plant, it's called. The leaves are very dainty and dark green and very nice. Everything looks very healthy. Because I really like the new food I've used. I bought it from Lowe's. It's a 6-month feeder. So you put it in at the beginning of the season. You don't have to worry about feeding the plants all season. There's a coral reef sedum. Right there, strange looking plant. And behind it is valerian, which they used to make Valium from. And right beside that is sweet basil. Some of you will recognize that. Some more geraniums with a chrysanthemum. All new growth in the chrysanthemum. And that is a coleus, a wax begonia. There's some shamrock in bloom over there, and there's some shamrock in bloom over there. All very healthy looking. Takes a lot of work to keep it that way, but it's worth it. It's what I enjoy doing. So that is what is going on in the garden right now. I'm very happy with how I've changed things up. Like I said, this year I turned the lights off at night so they get some dark time, which plants is good for their health. And it also encourages, because these zappers are on independent lines and they stay on all the time. So when I turn the lights off at night, the bugs all fly to those zappers and get zapped. So it helps to control the population of the bugs and the pests. But also, I should mention that I have a lot of spiders. Whenever I find a spider, I put it here in the winter garden. And they're my friends. And so I don't disrupt it. If I see a spider web, I try not to disrupt it, unless it's just in a very inconvenient place. because they are doing their part to keep the gardens healthy by getting rid of the pests for me. This is a diamond frost euphorbia with the little white blooms and emerald, big oval emerald leaves. I've had that for a few years as well. And then back there's a big, one of those giant, let's see if you can see it, behind the coleus. One of those giant, you see them in the fall, chrysanthemums. And I cut it all back. It died. The tops died, of course. So I cut it all back, and there's all new growth under it. So that should do well. Come summer, I might have some blooms on that next year. There's another peperomia right there. That one's like the dark colors of the leaves there. So that's the whole winter garden. I'll just do a quick turnaround so you can see it in perspective. And some people are rather taken aback at how big and expansive these gardens are. But it all began with a little wax begonia that was brought to me as a child. And I was hooked after that. As a child, I had a dream of an eternal summer. And that dream is reality in this garden. This is like the fulfillment of everything I envisioned as a child that a garden could be. I'm very, very happy with things this year. It's very easy to take care of. Like I said, I just have to maintain a schedule. Every pot in the room, which there's about 225 pots, gets watered every 4 days without fail. And then once every 2 months, every pot gets processed, soil loosened up, and dead leaves pulled off, whatever needs done. I move them around so that they're getting the maximum light that they need. And it pleases me very much.